It's the last stop on the road to Bound for Glory. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here to talk about Victory Road and Impact and all the things that are going on in Impact right now. But holy crap, when was the last time you guys saw my face? Now, I should say a little side note, if this does end up being an audio and you don't see my face on YouTube, it's because I'm learning a new video editing thing, and it kind of failed, which is why a couple of my individual videos went out as audios over the past little while. Let you guys know what's going on with me in the past little while. I had to get a new computer. I had a pipe burst in my closet. I got busy at work, which is why I am leaning more and more and more on my awesome co-hosts, leaning on Guapo with the AEW stuff, leaning on Jake with the WWE/NXT stuff, and we're going to touch on NXT later, leaning on Kristen for the Flicks Fix stuff as well. And you haven't seen my face because life gets exhausting. I'm fine. Just had a run of about 2 weeks where here's a little shot in the arm, here's a little shot in the arm, having to buy a new computer, and apparently the computer I have now will not load the old freeware program that I was using to edit videos, so I'm trying to teach myself a new one, and it wouldn't let me do it the other week. So if you're listening to this on YouTube and it's only an audio, that's why. It means that I still haven't taught myself how to do this properly, and Jesus Christ, there's a lot going on in wrestling right now. We have the flipping of NXT. Again, we're going to address that another day. We have Monday Night Raw going down the toilet. We have SmackDown still being kind of awesome. We have the return of the Demon. We have fireworks and rainbows and weird NXT stuff going on. And AEW, let's be real, is blowing up. So there's been a lot to talk about. And as usually is the case, because I don't talk about it weekly, Impact does fall by the wayside. But I'm going to keep saying what I end up saying in every video I do with Guapo or Jake, where we're talking about other stuff. I do end up talking, well, I end up talking about Destiny. Check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list. That shit's coming up soon too. But I do end up talking about Impact, because as much as I don't talk about it, there's always a little bit of me that's like, I should talk about it, because it is fun. It is the third show in my wrestling week, for sure. I have to be honest about that, but it's still, and this show specifically, because it's definitely got that B pay-per-view feel. We're already looking forward to Bound for Glory and all that kind of thing. But this ain't a bad card, guys. I'm recording this before this week's episode of Impact, so if anything changes, I know there's that big 10-person tag at the end that I am looking forward to. I'm literally going to put this up, and then I'm going to try and find a stream of that, because I'm not paying for weekly television. I'm just not. So that's how that goes, and there's going to be other stuff for me to record later on in the week. I'm rambling quite a bit. Two more things that I need to hit on before we get into this card. One, October 23rd is Bound for Glory. I'll definitely be previewing that. I don't know what anything on the card. None of that card has been announced yet, if I'm correct. Please tell me down in the box below if I've missed something or if something's gone under my radar. As they start announcing more and more and more for that show, I gotta see whether I'm gonna pull from one resource or the other. I'm gonna either get Jake or Guapo, potentially both, and that's really gonna depend on who they bring in and who's on the card, because there is a lot of teasing that it's gonna involve AAA and New Japan and AEW. I've heard whispers of ROH as well, even though it's not in that teaser video. And if that is the case, I need to have people here that can speak intelligently about AAA, about New Japan, about, this, that, and the next thing. You guys will know if you've been listening to my AEW content recently. Anything that involves somebody coming over from New Japan, which is right now Minoru Suzuki, I basically threw it to Guapo and be like, tell me what this is going to look like. Tell me how dead or not dead Jon Moxley is going to be in this match. We've got that big Suzuki tag coming up next week, and as I say, when you have people that know more than you, you let them talk. You let Guapo talk. You let Jake talk. So don't know exactly what the Bound for Glory preview is going to look like just yet. I gotta kind of figure that out. The other thing, and it is a smaller show, but it's worth mentioning only for the feel good factor. They are bringing back Knockouts Knockdown, which is basically their version of Evolution, and God knows it's got to be better than Empower. It's the all female Impact Plus show. Of course, Mickie James is going to be on commentary. Yay! But the cool thing about this, in all honesty, Gail Kim went online and announced this not too long ago. They are going to be doing a Daphne Memorial Monsters Ball match, which I think is really cool. I wasn't watching Impact or TNA, whatever it was called at the time, when Daphne was there, but from everything I've seen, from the little clips that I've seen or whatever, she and Taylor Wilde had the first women's Monsters Ball match in the history of TNA/Impact. So the fact that they're going to do a Monsters Ball match in her memory, I think is a really, really cool thing, and it tips the scales to whether or not I'm going to watch it, to be quite frank. Evolution, when WWE did it, I've always said it was great that it happened. I'm never going to watch it again. It's and that's not a dig. I don't watch most pay-per-views again. Even the pay-per-views as they're currently happening, I watch them on the night. We have the conversation afterwards, and the conversation afterwards is always more fun. But Evolution wasn't great. The little toxic bits of Empower that I saw, the skits about how terrible men are because it's how Mickie James is these days, didn't make me want to watch it. And Deonna Purrazzo apparently came out looking like $1 million, so that's a plus. Doing a tribute to Daphne is obviously a classy thing to do, an easy thing on their part. Get Gail Kim back in the mix. I don't know whether she's involved in the production aspect of it or whether she's going to come back and actually have a match. I haven't heard anything one way or the other on that. If she does, that'd be real. Gail Kim's a pretty kick-ass person, is she not? I want to say again, I don't quite live in Toronto, but close enough to say hometown girl Gail Kim. That's really cool. As that develops more, obviously I'll come back and I'll do a... I should say, before it falls right out of my head, Mercedes Martinez is coming back for that show as well, which... Imagine for a second we get Gail Kim versus Mercedes Martinez just as an exhibition. That would be fucking fantastic. Anyways, let's get on to the card. Only 5 matches. This isn't going to be that long of an episode, really, because A, there's not a whole lot of matches to talk about. B, it's a B pay-per-view. Ha ha ha. And C, I don't have a co-host to bounce off of, and I'm already tired. So let's do this. Decay, which is Havoc and Rosemary taking on Savannah Evans and Tasha Steelz for the Knockouts Women's Tag Team Championships. And I will be honest, guys, the better part of Fire and Flava is now over in AEW. I'm giving AEW a lot of credit recently. Maybe I'm turning a new leaf. Maybe I'm just feeling really, really nice. I mean, Cody Rhodes came back. That's going to be a strike against it, isn't it? Oh, I've just come back out of the blue to defend my friend Rosario Dawson. I just happen to be in a 3-piece suit and have a show to plug. Yes, we're not going to do that tonight, though. Savannah Evans and Tasha Steelz, fine. Just put them in there as like placeholder contenders, I guess. If you want to get Rachel Ellering and Jordynne Grace back in that title mix, gonna see Jordynne Grace at a Destiny show real soon on Halloween. That's gonna be fun. Then that's fine. Savannah Evans is boring. She's just there to play the big show role, which I'm not particularly a fan of. And Tasha Steelz is not the more charismatic half of Fire and Flava. Now, I really want to see... What's her name? I can't think now because it's tired in here and I don't have a co-host to bounce off of. I really want to see Kiera Hogan do awesome things in AEW. I'm glad they split so that she can go and shine. Better Sasha Banks, etc., etc. But it means that we get a 2.0 version of that tag team, and I'm ridiculously biased towards Decay. Now, I'm not going to make wishes out into the stratosphere. I know that this show is not where they're going to introduce somebody of the stature of Bray Wyatt. That'll probably be more like Bound for Glory. Let's cross our fingers. I don't want Bray Wyatt to come in and join Decay, but I do want to see him interact with Decay. Now, I don't want him to be the Fiend. I don't want him to be the Eater of Worlds. I want him to be whatever his next creation is. But as far as the type of characters that Bray Wyatt creates, Impact is more in that vein. They're more open to that sort of Elseworlds storytelling than than AEW is. I mean, I've heard Tony Khan didn't even like the Matt Hardy teleporting thing, and we've talked about that before. And as much credit as I give AEW, especially recently, because let's be real, Tony's collecting all of his toys. You can't pretend that the spooky, the Elseworlds, the unhuman element hasn't existed in wrestling for years. From the ridiculous to the sublime. You got your Undertakers, you got your Mordecais, you got your Kanes, you got your Boogeymans, you got Kevin Thorne, who went on to become Mordecai, or became Mordecai after. Can't remember which one is which. Even in TNA, or Impact, I guess I should say, you've got the Violent by Design, who are not spooky per se, but they're kind of crazy, and it works. You've got Su Yung and all of her ladies, much like Abaddon over in AEW. So I don't know how the Abaddon thing works in AEW, but you've got Decay, which is just so ridiculously fun. And a company that's constantly having that much fun. Right before I started watching Impact again was when they did Somebody Had a Wedding and Somebody Got Shot. Impact is the only company that's going to have somebody getting shot on their show. Let's be real. And the fact that they're not at the tippy top of everybody's list like WWE, AEW, and NXT is why they get away with that. I'm not blind to that either. But it's not going to happen at this show, but Decay and Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, whatever he's going to go by, that has to happen soon. Havoc and Rosemary have to win this. I don't want to see them lose. Rosemary is kick-ass. Havoc is really, really good as her partner. And, I mean, Crazy Steve's going to be on the outside. And Black Taurus, a.k.a. Giant El Torito, is probably going to be there to make up the numbers as well. Now, I don't know if Tasha Steelz is going to have that weird friendship that she still has with Falaba and No Way and TJP. That's one of the things that I don't quite get, how like the very, very heel Fire and Flava became a 4-person team with the two probably the most fun characters on the show being Falaba and No Way, Don't Call Him Jose. But if the rest of Decay are out there, then I don't know who's going to be out there to make up the numbers. Maybe they introduce somebody crazy. I don't really know. Finjuice, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson over from New Japan. Can't really say much about them, versus the Bullet Club, which in this case is Chris Bay and Hikuleo. Hikuleo I've seen in exactly one match. My context for him is, he's one of the guys from Bullet Club. Big Jack dude, again there to play the big show of this match, and I say that respectfully. The one that I care about in this match is Chris Bay, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna fashion this match around him, because it's an Impact show and there's 4 people in this match. One of them is an Impact star, so I have no doubt that Finjuice, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson are going to go in there and put in a hell of a shift, because I do find them to be a fun team. I don't know where their rivalries lie because I don't follow New Japan, and Hikuleo's going to go in there and do some big guy impressive power stuff. Wouldn't be surprised if the Bullet Club get the win, not only because Chris Bay is the Impact guy, but they're really solidifying Chris Bay as the Impact guy in the Bullet Club. So, again, the crossover is... they're not doing it too much yet, but it does mean we branch out, not to be repetitive, into stuff that I'm not familiar with, so I'm not going to have as much to say about. You know what I do love, though? I want to talk about another tag team. There's no tag team title. There's 2 tag team matches on this card, and neither one of them are for the tag team titles. I just realized that right now. Leave me alone. It's tired in here. Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan versus Moose and Morrissey. Moose and Morrissey, in all honesty, should go in there and smoke them. But the more entertaining thing is the... I hate to say it this way because it's a lot more violent than this sounds, but the frenemies relationship between Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan. I mean, these 4 are going to be in that 10-man tag that I'm literally going to watch later on tonight. So maybe as you guys are listening to this tomorrow, these guys are already dead. I don't know. I really like Sami Callihan. I've had the good fortune of seeing him live. Haven't seen Eddie Edwards live. Would really like to see him live. Eddie Edwards is somebody that I would love to see cross over into AEW and face somebody like a Daniel Bryan. But we'll see where that goes when it goes. I do think this is where you kind of solidify this team of Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan. Eddie Edwards was in the Wolves way back in the day. I had to remind myself of that the other day. Very, very different Eddie Edwards at the time. I think that was before he had his face smashed in by Sami Callihan's bat. You know, now I'm just dating myself. Now I just feel old. That's fine. Moose is Moose. Morrissey is Morrissey. They're not going to be hurt in the slightest by a loss here. I really don't think they will. It's going to be entertaining. You're going to see a lot of the bickering back and forth. I would love to see. It's a very, very simple wrestling story. And if you've been following this channel at all recently, you know I'm really sinking my teeth into the really simple wrestling stories. Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan can both be violent as fuck. I really want to see them do the game of one-upsmanship between each other. One of them does, and it's going to be Morrissey, because I mean Moose is somebody they still hold in like title contention level. I don't think they see Morrissey there just yet, which is not a slight. It's just an observation. They're going to get their hands on Morrissey, and Edwards is going to do something to him, and then Sammy's going to tag in and do something more violent to him, and then Eddie's going to tag back in and do something more violent. Okay, you want a DDT? How about a DDT on a chair? How about a DDT on a thumbtack chair? How about a DDT on a thumbtack chair wrapped in barbed wire? Like that type of thing I think would be really, really fun. Although there's no, as I'm looking at it right now, there is no stipulation attached to this match, so that does limit it slightly. You've got two different matches here that are both exhibitions. Neither one of them are for the title. Differentiate the two, make one of them a hardcore match. I'd be really, really happy. Guarantee, with all due respect to the current Impact champion, the match of the night is going to be Josh Alexander versus Chris Sabin. Chris Sabin, sort of the TNA, one of the TNA OGs. Talk about, I always say back in the day, and I try to say this lightly, I watched TNA back when it was good, when they had all the sort of the golden era of TNA people. You had Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, the Motor City Machine Guns. You had Styles, Daniels, and Joe having those triple threat matches. You had Kaz. You had Christian Cage. At that time, you had... Who else did you have? I can't even think right now. But we all remember that. You had Beer Money, which was fun. Jeff Hardy in and out. Jeff Jarrett in and out. You had interesting characters like... I can't think of his name right now, which is terrible. Buddy that used to do the Pounce. The alpha male Monty Brown. There we go. Thank you, brain. I mean, obviously you had the X Division at the height of all that. I think people say, for the most part, other than if you start talking about Ultimate X matches and Elevation X matches, you got the apparently best match in TNA history, which was the triple threat between Styles, Daniels, and Joe. Now, removing Ultimate X and Elevation X from the scenario, I can't really argue with that, I'm not going to lie. Chris Sabin, long stalwart. I really don't know what this... I should, if I'm going to come up here and talk about it. I really don't know what the situation is with Alex Shelley right now. Somebody can tell me down in the box below if you know. He showed up in NXT for one match, and then they came back as a team to Impact, and then I don't know what happened to him after that. So if Chris Sabin is going to go back... Is Chris Sabin the guy... No, it was Austin Aries that created Option C, wasn't it? Chris Sabin is a guy who's got a long-standing history with that title. He's going in there with that. I said this about Kaz the other day. On Dynamite in his match with Adam Cole. He's not old by any stretch of the imagination, but he does go into his matches with a something to prove vibe in every match. And I think that's really cool. Somebody who's had a lot of success with that belt, who wants to feel that success one more time, versus Josh Alexander, who's just carving himself a slice right now in Impact. And yes, am I slightly biased because he's also the Destiny champion? Check it off your Spaz Phoenix Smug list. Yes, I am absolutely biased. But also, the guy is a machine. When we were making that list of people we wanted to see Daniel Bryan fight after he left WWE, that was me and Jake. Daniel Bryan was really, really high on my list because I would love to see Daniel Bryan versus Josh Alexander. Do that twisting pile driver on Daniel Bryan's very, very publicly aware injured neck, etc. because I'm a terrible, terrible person. I also made the joke the other day that Punk and Bryan should come to Impact and take the titles off of the Good Brothers, but that's another video for another day. Josh Alexander, Chris Sabin for the X Division Championship. It's going to be the best match of the night. I'm sorry, it just is. If for no other reason than it's a little bit more unpredictable than the main event, but also these guys are just not going to let this match be bad, are they? I really want to see Josh Alexander hold on to that title. I think he will. I think eventually he's going to run out of challengers for that title and he's going to cash in Option C. I was really hoping he was going to cash in Option C when Kenny Omega still had the title, because that's a hell of a match right there. I can't say anything else other than people may agree, people may disagree. I know the old school fans out there are going to tell me that the world title should go on last. I think this should be the main event. I really do. I think Sabin and Alexander are going to kill it, and I think whatever comes after that has a hell of a hill to climb. And yes, I'm being very cliche tonight, if you haven't noticed. It's tired in here. Going on to the main event now, Christian Cage versus Ace Austin. I mean, Ace Austin ain't winning. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bit of a schmoz. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some crossover. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some AEW fuckery, because coming up next week on AEW, you've got who is it? You got Cole and the Bucks, the Super Click, that are going to take on Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express, and you can't rule out completely that Adam Cole is going to show up on Impact at some point. So why would the Super Click not come and try to screw Christian Cage out of his title? But they're not going to put it on. I like Ace Austin, don't get me wrong. Walking around with Madman Fulton like a bulldog on a leash, I think it's all great. But I don't think he's going to be the champion right now. I don't think they're going to take that belt off of the shoulder of AEW people, if I'm honest. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually Impact features a match between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy for that title. And then maybe you can get like a Jungle Boy versus Josh Alexander and the title gets handed back to the company and all that kind of thing. You got all kinds of wide storytelling possibilities there. I like Christian. I really do. I like the fact that he's got a title that takes him sort of somewhere else to do some more cool stuff and mix it up with some more people. Because, and this is going to sound shitty, he came to AEW right before Malachi Black, Andrade, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, and Adam Cole, baby. So, as much as it's cool to see him back, because you know WWE didn't want to let him back for whatever reason, or he chose AEW for whatever reason, he's going to get buried at the bottom of that list of new people, which really sucks. And the additional feel-good bit of it is him going over to Impact not only gives him something to do, but it also gives him a bit of a homecoming, in the sense of the first time he left WWE, he went to Impact. And Impact is where he showed, yes, there are other companies willing to put a world title on me, willing to put their biggest prize on my shoulder and let me carry a brand. I don't think you can overlook that, to be perfectly honest with you, because yes, Impact is not as big as WWE. Impact is not as big as AEW. Impact, I would say, is not even as big as NXT, and that's not a slight. That's just, it is what it is. But any company willing to put that title on your shoulder says that you are on the same level as their Jeff Jarrett's, as their Kurt Angles, as their AJ Styles, as their Bobby Roodes. And I think if he had done a straight string through WWE, he would have had Kane syndrome. Kane, for as good as he was always the Undertaker's brother. And Christian, if he had never branched out, if he had never gone anywhere else, was always going to be Edge's buddy. He's going to be the guy that got the world title once because we felt bad that Edge had to retire. Even when he came back, and he surprised us all in the Rumble and they had the big moment in the ring, the very first thing they did was, him and Edge got in the middle of the ring and hugged, which is probably something that they wanted to do. They probably wanted that moment, don't get me wrong. But immediately it's like, Christian's back, and Look at his proud big brother there. I don't know. Christian Cage is going to make Ace Austin look like $1 million. He is the champion right now in AEW that's going to go in there and make everybody look like $1 million. I mean, he's got the Outwork Everybody t-shirts. He's got to get in there and prove it, right? Match is going to be great. I don't think it's going to be a scratch on Josh Alexander and Chris Sabin. I'm just putting that out there. I'm sure Josh Alexander and Christian Cage are going to meet up at some point. Whether one of them goes heel, whether it's just like a match out of respect, whether it's just, hey, two kick-ass Canadians fighting over a title, which I can definitely go for. Throw in Sean Spears with his Canadian God trunks as the referee or something like that. I could get on board with that too. I don't really have much else to say, guys. This is a decent sort of B-level show. You can tell when you watch the show they're already kind of looking past this to Bound for Glory, which is fine. I mean, it's their WrestleMania, I guess. Which, actually, you know what? I'll put it out to you guys. For those of you that watch Impact, what is their WrestleMania? Is Slammiversary their WrestleMania? Or is Bound for Glory their WrestleMania? Because I don't know. Even back in the day, I remember thinking, okay, which one... Are they trying to have the one big show? And if so, which one is it? And if they're not trying to have the one big show, I mean, I think in AEW right now we can say it's all out. I mean, that's pretty much a given. I don't know. I think and I lost my... I can make words. I swear to God. This is the last thing I'm going to say before my mouth falls off my face. The Bound for Glory news that I have discussed on other episodes here. Bound for Glory, if it is their WrestleMania for Impact, they've pushed their Bound for Glory to 10 p.m. What's the date? Let me look at the date. The date is October 23rd, and it's at 10 p.m. because AEW has an episode of Dynamite. They're doing one of their Saturday Night Dynamite things. And I think that's really cool for a lot of reasons. A lot of people were like, oh yeah, Dynamite was going to take away all their attention and whatnot and take away their buys and such. But I do think it works both ways. I mean, if it is their big pay-per-view of the year and they are doing so much crossover on that show, it is going to divert attention from Dynamite, which is already happening on a Saturday, which is not its typical night. It's happening on a Saturday when the world's back up and going again and people are doing things on the weekend. So I think it's a mutually beneficial thing. And also, for people watching, I mean, it doesn't work if you're at the Dynamite show or if you're at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view. But if you're like me, sat on your ass up here in Canada just watching it on TV, it means you get a good 5 or 6 hours of wrestling on a Saturday night. And that's nothing to complain about. We got that to look forward to. We got the Knockouts Knockdown. We got the Daphne Tribute Monsters Ball thing, and we'll see who's going to get thrown into that. And in 2 days, we have Victory Road, which is shaping up to be a really, really, really decent show. Let me know what you guys think down in the box below. I haven't had a chance to come up here and talk to you guys solo in a while because of recording issues and such, and I definitely haven't come up for a full, like, intentional video about Impact. So let me know what you think about what's going on in Impact in general right now. Let me know what you think about Victory Road this weekend. Let me know what you think about the Knockouts show. Wow, the light went out at the last minute to make me look like a tool. That's awesome. Yeah, let me know what you think about this weekend's show, the Knockouts show that's coming up. Let me know what your predictions are for Bound for Glory. And if you're not watching Impact, but you're watching this, my God, I've probably done a horrible job of updating you on what's going on at Impact. But thanks for tuning in anyway. I really do appreciate it. If you know anybody else that you think might like this type of thing, go ahead and give it a share. I'm not proud, but I am Spaz Phoenix, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, tagging out, guys. Bye.